the bird sings more happy. Today hoy siento la canción del arroyito. That means that I feel the song of the little river.
The little river.
Yes. And y siento como brilla más el sol.
And I feel how the sun is brighter.
It's brighter.
Brighter than before.
Okay. Estoy contento. I'm happy. Yo no sé qué es lo que siento.
I don't know what I'm feeling.
Voy saltando como el río, como el viento.
I am singing like a river, like a
Saltando.
wind. He's cantando.
Saltando.
Cantando.
Voy saltando como el
He
río.
says here cantando.
No, aquí dice saltando.
Okay, it's jumping then. Jumping like a river and the wind.
And the wind. Como el colibrí que deja la flor por la mañana.
Colibrí es el...
The little bird that... Little bird that
they take the sugar from the flower.
Yes.
The hummingbird.
The hummingbird.
Okay, like the hummingbird kiss the floor in the morning.
The flower in the morning.
Yeah, the flower.
Como paraulata que deja su canto en la sabana. Paraulata is a kind of bird characteristic of the high plains in Venezuela. Okay, estoy contento, no sé qué es lo que siento. I'm happy. I don't know what happened. Voy
and then let's sing it.
Voy saltando como el río, como el viento.
Okay.
Me pongo a bailar, no puedo explicar qué es lo que siento. Translate, please.
Me pongo a bailar?
Yes.
Okay, and then I start dancing, and I don't know what I'm feeling.
Que reviento con las ganas de cantar.
To the point that I'm gonna blow when I start singing.
Okay.
Okay.
So that says something like this. Hoy todo me parece más bonito, hoy canta más alegre el ruiseñor. Hoy siento la canción del arroyito y siento cómo brilla más el sol. Hoy todo me parece más bonito, hoy canta más alegre el ruiseñor. Hoy siento la canción del arroyito y siento cómo brilla más el sol. Voy contento, yo no sé qué es lo que siento. Voy saltando como el río, como el viento, como el colibrí que besa la flor por la mañana, como paraulata que deja su canto en la sabana. Soy contento, yo no sé qué es lo que siento. Voy saltando como el río, como el viento. Me pongo a bailar, no puedo explicar qué es lo que siento. Que reviento con las ganas de cantar. Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh man, that reminds me so much back home,
Okay.
Venezuela. You know, it's been almost around 30 years. You know, 25. Yeah, like a 27 years.
Yes, and
so round it off like a 30 years.
Yes, in 1988, he had a very special concert, and when they were in Seis in the theater with the full orchestra, and he directed that orchestra, and the musicians get that. You know, that feeling, all the musicians clapping, and suddenly he got an ACV, a problem with his brain, and he died that day.
That day. So he didn't know that he was having some kind of issues.
No, it was so emotive. He died of happiness.
Wow.
Okay.
So you can die not only of depression or anxiety, but you can even die being happy.
Any kind of heart impression.
You can die.
Yes.
So be careful.
Because he was the first time that he was directing a full symphonic orchestra with his themes, and he was so happy that his blood pressure went so high.
So excited. He was so excited.
Yes. And it happens that the doctor my mom's doctor was at the theater, and he immediately knows, and he called immediately the ambulance. But unfortunately, he passed away.
Yeah, because the services in back home in those years, of ambulance, emergency, or whatever how you want to
Yes.
call it, were not efficient, and today, of course, they are still not efficient. Actually, today we could say they almost disappear those services.
Yes.
So.
And he also composed other music. One of the most known composers of Mr. Frometa was named Canto a Caracas.
Singing to Caracas.
See, he was in love for of that city. On that time, it was a completely different city
From
than
what
it's
we're seeing today.
Yes.
Okay.
And he sang, and at the end of the song says, "Yo quiero tanto a mi Caracas, I like so much Caracas, que solo pido a Dios cuando yo muera, en vez de una oración sobre mi tumba, el último compás de Alma Llanera." Well.
Okay. Was he the founder of a famous group?
Oh yes, he was the equivalent of Benny Goodman in United States.
Yeah, he got the name of his orchestra.
Villos Caracas,
orchestra, right?
Villos Caracas
Villos
Boys.
Caracas, the
Yes.
boys, Villos Caracas
Caracas
Boys.
Boys.
So, los muchachos de Caracas que
Yeah,
pertenecen a
Villos Caracas Boys.
Villos Caracas
It
Boys.
was in English.
Yeah, I see
name
that.
Of the orchestra. Okay, so this is the beginning of our homage to a lot of musicians that comes to Venezuela and stay in Venezuela and create a school of music, a Venezuelan music, were in Venezuela, even though they were not born in Venezuela. But they caught the spirit of the nation. Okay, now what else do you have?
Okay. Can we talk a little bit more about a little bit of part of history of Venezuela? We remember we were talking about how Venezuela.
You want the contemporary history, or you want?
Before we get to the contemporary history, which is going to be probably in 2 weeks, right? We can continue talking about the process, how Venezuela became what they know and they are proud of, being a nation of democracy. The process they took from Gomez all the way to what we have today. Because the way that I see it is a long process, a progressive process from one system going extremely to the other system.
Yeah, we talk about that in another program when I show how the thing went from the death of Juan Vicente Gomez till the October Revolution in 1945. But I don't want to talk today about that period. Because in order to understand what happens today, we need to understand how this process went.
Of course.
Okay? Happens that after 1945, they changed the constitution.
Exactly. And then when we compare 1941?
1945.
Okay,
October
when we
18.
compare 1945 October, Venezuela changing the constitution again.
Venezuela had 26 versions of constitution.
Just because one time they changed one constitution, start changing consequently.
So we will talk about this after
when we come back.
Messages.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual family, or baby boomer, email maga45cag@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at maga45cag@gmail.com.
This is Ron Camacho, host of the Business Hour, on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business practices, and fascinating business professionals to get an insider view of how America works.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients, dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down docs4patientcarefoundation.org. That's DOCS, the number 4, patientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the americasbroadcastnetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
We are back.
We are back.
Okay, and this
estábamos
is...
hablando. We were talking about. I'm sorry. Spanish came out right like this. Yeah, this is.
That's Davis' fault.
No, it's okay. It's my fault. It's my fault.
No. You've been distracted.
Okay,
with
let's
his eyes.
talk Venezuelan. Okay, we were talking before the break about how many times Venezuelan changed the constitution,
yes,
right?
But
And
in
then
1945.
Okay, take it from there.
They had a coup after.
Really?
Yeah.
A coup.
After 46 years of relative peace. Okay, these Democrats made a coup d'etat with some middle rank militaries, and they changed the government. Okay, they changed the constitution again, and they bring the concept of full democracy.
They brought the concept. Okay, full
so
democracy.
Where people didn't even know how to vote. They vote by colors, not by names, not by people.
So basically, only by color. They didn't know what the agenda.
No.
They didn't know what the proposal was.
No.
They didn't know who this person was standing for.
No,
they
just vote for a list. So you want to vote white, or you want to vote red, or you want to vote green.
Or orange, no? Orange.
Green.
But the orange was
green.
Okay.
It was the communist. It was the COPEI, that it was Christian socialist, and the
communist
and the Democratic Action, that is a socialist democrat, just like they want to convert the Democratic Party here in United States.
Yes.
It's what we name as the Mensheviks.
The Menshevik.
But all the three has profound Marxist roots. It was communist, it was social democratic, and was a Christian socialist. Okay, and since then, all the political discourse in Venezuela is my socialist is better than yours.
You're socialist.
Okay?
Everything is socialist.
Everything is socialist.
Okay, it's good that you said that, because when I was in Miami, I was meeting with some people from Venezuela, right? And then I was explaining this group of people from Venezuela. They're trying to do something for Venezuela, right? And I was explaining then that one of the main reasons why a nation exists or govern itself is because of the constitution that they have. Without a constitution, a nation cannot work out. a nation cannot govern and a nation cannot exist.
The Constitution is the frame.
It's the frame.
Where everything grabs as laws.
Exactly.
If you don't have respect for the Constitution, you have respect for nothing, and you have no laws.
So I was trying to explain these people that regardless they want to be right wing, what they call right wing, right? Like right wing, yeah,
okay.
Or capitalism, or
whatever
limit, whatever. I was explaining then if the Constitution of a specific country does not allow any group to form besides socialism or social group or communist group or any related to that, it's going to be impossible for them to organize something in the country, because that goes against what the Constitution is establishing at the moment that they are doing it. So a lot of them cannot even understand. They don't even grasp, the surface.
No.
And then I was explaining then that one of the great things about United States is the Constitution. Is the Constitution is more than 200 years we are functioning as a nation with this only Constitution, and all the amendments that come with it. And one of the reasons why in United States we have many different parties registered, but only the two strongest ones, who they are, no? The Republican and the Democrat, that's it. And it's because the Constitution allows it, okay? But when you were talking just now about Democrats creating a coup, changing the Constitution, it's like we are living Venezuela today here with what's going on in the United States. Because these Democrat people, especially the candidates that we can hear from them, every time that they come to the debate, everything is worse and worse and worse. Because you can see that every time they open their mouth is exactly what they did in Venezuela.
Exactly.
It's exactly. So they're attacking.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now you can see it clear now that they are attacking the amendments. Amendment number 2, amendment number 1, the assembling. I mean, when I say amendment number 1, the amendment number 1 is long, right? It's very long, and they're attacking each specific sentence that is separated by comma. For example, what Beto says that if any church will not marry a couple with the same sex, if he becomes president, he's gonna close down those churches. Okay, so it's the same thing that they used to do in Venezuela, by changing the Constitution, trying to change it. Okay, here in America, Americans are a little more smart and more educated when we are talking about like our generation, like until 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. But the new generation, David, that's the new generation, the millennials. They are cuckoo, they are loco. They are promoting socialism. They are promoting, they're even saying the Constitution is too old. We need to change it. They don't even know what they are asking for. And like the son said, be careful what you wish for, because you may have it all, So when you say what happened with Venezuela by changing the Constitution, changing all this process, keep going.
And what really gets on me is in 1945. We'll have to be in that era. Okay, we've been the most close ally of the United States of America. Venezuela was the first producer of oil in the world, and all these World War II was fought with oil produced in Venezuela.
Okay.
With gasoline.
Okay.
Everything was the refineries were in Venezuela. The largest at that time, the largest refineries in the world were in Venezuela and in Curacao, and they brought all that power, all that gas, all that moves, all those armies, allies armies, came from Venezuela. Venezuela was so important for the war effort that a painting of Simón Bolívar was in the mantle of the Oval Office
Okay, back in those days.
back in those days.
Okay.
Okay, so
To honoring Venezuela.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And it happens that this coup d'etat made by a former General Secretary of the Communist Party in Costa Rica,
Yeah.
Rómulo Betancourt, and I always said, why the State Department, knowing that, allows that? Okay?
Who was the president during that time of United States?
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
Um,
He's the one who substituted the late President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Roosevelt
So
died.
the Republican or the Democrat?
No, Democrat.
The Democrat. Okay.
Yes, Franklin Delano Roosevelt died in 1945, before the just after the invasion of Europe, but he passed away, and Truman, that was the vice president, took the power as president of the United States. So in 1948, when this happens, the United States allowed that happen.
Betancourt.
Okay, that Betancourt take the power in Venezuela.
And that
And he
changed
brought-
everything, right?
And he brought a very harsh regime, very, very near to communist, very near of what happens today in Venezuela. Okay, they did a lot of bad things with the economy, with the property rights, especially property rights. And in 1948, it happens that Rómulo Gallegos won the election with the 95% of population vote for him.
Okay.
Okay, in
Okay.
those elections, vote by colors.
Okay.
Okay.
The white, the green,
The
and
white,
the red.
the white, the green, and
And
the
then
red.
he was which one color he was?
White.
Gallegos was the
Yes,
white.
was
Okay,
the
and he
white.
won the presidency. And
Yes,
what
he
happened
won.
with Gallegos?
The presidency last only 9 months, and in November of 1948, another coup d'état with the same military that did the coup d'état in 1945, and we got 10 years of military dictatorship, and that military dictatorship was very, very near of national socialism. Okay, they built a lot of infrastructure.
Who was
but,
the president? Who was the dictator?
Well, the first one was Carlos Delgado Chalbó, and when he was killed in a kidnap attempt, and after the one who took the power was his brother-in-law, Marcos Pérez Jiménez. And Marcos Pérez Jiménez stayed in Venezuela for up to the January 23, 1958. And it happens that during that period, the military that deposed Pérez Jiménez was Wolfgang Larrazábal. It was it was an rear admiral. And at that time, the United States, the first thing that the United States did is to bring Vice President Richard Nixon to Venezuela.
Okay.
Okay, and the Vice President put all the resources in hands of Mr. the Admiral Larrazábal, and said, "We are your allies. I know that you have a lot of economic troubles because the other guy flee the country with with all the money." Okay, it's a tradition. It's a Latin American tradition, you know.
To steal.
Yeah. So they moved the money. Even Marcos Pérez Jiménez left a piece of luggage in the airport, and
yeah, we'll be back.
And we'll be back
And
with
we
the rest of
continue.
the story.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, You probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
This is Daryl Pullis inviting you to listen to America's Homegrown Veggie Show right here every Saturday morning at 10 Eastern Time. Great guests, great tips, and valuable information about growing your own vegetables, fruits, and herbs.
This is Ron Camacho, host of the Business Hour, on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business professionals, business practices, and fascinating individuals to get an insider view of how America works. 10 to 11 a.m. on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
So before the commercial break, David asked me a question. What was the question?
Which country did they go to?
Oh, he went to Dominican Republic. Do you remember Leonidas Trujillo, the same guy that wanted to kill Villa Frometa? He was the dictator at that time in Dominican Republic because he lasted for almost 40 years in power.
Like the Castro in Cuba,
yes,
like over 50, something
yes.
like that.
So it happens that Marcos Pérez Jiménez went to Dominican Republic, but in the
hustle,
they had a big airplane that was the same model that the President Eisenhower had. They named it in Venezuela the Sacred Cow, La Vaca Sagrada.
Ah, the Sacred Cow.
The Sacred Cow. Okay? But somebody left a piece of luggage and inside
behind.
Yes, in the airport.
In the airport.
In La Carlota Airport.
Okay.
In the airport that was inside of the
So that luggage is supposed to go with him in the plane.
With him in the plane.
Okay.
But somebody forgot about it. And somebody checked the luggage, opened the luggage, and the luggage had the gala uniform of the general.
Okay.
Okay, and papers that at that time were worth about $10 million of that time.
Only in that luggage.
Only in that luggage.
So think how many other stuff he took in another luggage.
I just tell you something.
So how much do they steal? How much do they steal?
They name him Mr. 20%.
20%? What do you mean 20%? Pérez Jiménez, they named him 20%? That was his nickname?
Yes, they gave him 20% of. Do you see Odebrecht that
Odebrecht?
Pay kickbacks to politicians?
The kickback pariguan?
Yes.
Okay.
The amount of money that Mr. Pérez Jiménez took was 20% of any public
transaction.
Every public work has a 20% cut for him.
So that explains why when he was in Madrid, Spain, money, but not that kind of money.
Not that kind of money, of
exactly.
course.
That explains how somebody being empowered in a Latino country, they can become rich from one day to another.
Yes,
the other example was Hugo Chavez.
And the kind of riches, you know, the Chavez's daughter, the elder daughter, she's
Maria Gabriela,
the one who lives in New York. They said that her fortune is $4 billion. A lady that never worked.
Yeah,
and
but she said that she did it by selling Avon.
Avon products.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the commercial. That's what she said. That she get
She got millionaire.
$4 billion selling Avon products. Incredible, isn't it? Okay.
Okay.
So after that, as I told you, Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon went to Venezuela, and the limousine where they were
Nixon
driving,
was,
was attacked by
United States give their back to Venezuela. It's because that kind of behavior.
No, but the worst part comes
When?
later.
What was the part?
Okay, in 1959.
Okay.
On January 23rd.
A year later.
A year later. Okay. Fidel Castro. That what was Fidel Castro wanted from then President Rómulo Betancourt, the same guy who did the first coup d'etat, result elected by the people in a democratic nation with a pure democratic scheme. Okay, he result elected, and Fidel Castro wanted $300 million of 1959. He wanted $300 million to make the revolution in United States. Betancourt said no, because I don't have that money, and if I had it, I don't give it to you. And that's what happened. That was the big fight between Rómulo Betancourt and Fidel Castro, because that's the way socialism, different kind of socialism.
They
works.
fight each other.
They fight each
for
other
power.
For power, and the fight is, to death.
Yeah. So the revenge from Fidel towards Betancourt. You don't want to help me with my revolution? Okay, I'll put some gorillas in your mountain. And that's what he did. And then he did the same thing with Colombia. And he did the same thing with Peru. And he did, all those guerrillas.
Latin American, but
because
Mexico. The only country that he didn't see the guerrilla was Mexico. And it was because he was trained in Mexico by former Republican Spaniards from the Communist Republic of Spain that were in Spain in Mexico, and he received that training from them. So in 1959, after that, we began to have guerrillas in Latin America. A very bad situation, because the mentality of those people were already socialist, and the only difference is my kind of socialism is better than yours. Okay, but that's the political discourse, not only in Venezuela,
Mexico down south, Caribbean, in the Caribbean islands.
Okay, and that brings us to the actual dates. What is going on in Chile? What is going on in Bolivia? What is going on in Ecuador? What's going on in Colombia?
So
you can explain what's going on, because we've been get into socialism in a progressive mode. This progressive is not that they want you to be to progress you.
No.
That the one they means that you are going into socialism, doing baby steps in a progressive mode. That's what progressive means,
until you reach communism.
Until you reach communism.
So, one lady, she's black from here, from United States. She was saying that she got a friend from Venezuela who told her that there is not true that socialism exists. Only two systems exist, capitalism and communism. And then I have to tell her, let me correct you in that, because there is something in the middle that is going to bring you from one from here all the way to here. And that process in the middle is what we call progressism. Right? And then they call it socialism. Now they call it socialism of the 21st century. But it's all this the same thing. The 21st century socialism. So it's a progress way of moving you from freedom, capitalism, freedom, individual freedom, and small government,
And
moving little by little
and
to all the
they're
opposite.
cheaping, little by little your liberties. You know, for example, we had in Caracas at that time the governor of the city of Caracas was appointed by the president, and this guy, I won't mention his name, but everybody will know who I'm talking about. Caracas used to have beautiful light signs, beautiful, like New York's Times Square, beautiful. Okay, and he said, "No, I don't like that. That is ugly. So you have to turn off those things."
They took them out.
And they took them out. Okay.
Took them
and
out.
then he said, "I don't like pinball machine. So let's get rid of the pinball machine because
in the whole city.
In the whole city, because that machines brings people into
laziness and wasting time.
And wasting time.
But then in the other side, they promoted a lot of alcohol, promoting a lot of los caballos, ¿cómo se llama?
The horse racing.
Horse racers, and other stuff that implicate more, and then convert the men on Venezuela alcoholic.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have nothing else to do. They couldn't play, like billard.
They have the lottery, for example, but the lottery is not like here that you dedicate the earnings for education. No, they just take it's just a business managed by the state, and that's it.
When did they start taking away guns?
Since
it was progressive, it was progressive.
But
little by little, they, for example, now the country is divided. Well, let's unite it, but we need to give up our gun.
Yeah, but let me explain you this thing. As I told you in one of those programs, since 1830, when Venezuela was exits the Gran Colombia, till 1899, for those almost 70 years, Venezuela was one of the most violent countries in the world because of the continuous war. We have
civil war.
Every 2 years we have a different government displaced by a new revolution. Okay, and what happens with that we had a very dispersed country.
Is that true that if somebody from, let's say, a state, the state number 1 wanna go through a state number 5, like it's a long route, they have to go and asking permission to cross one state to another state,
yes.
And they have to be armed and all that stuff.
Yes,
and we'll be back.
I'll answer that question after these messages.
Okay.
The Docs for Patient Care Foundation is your way to join the fight and become a member of an organization created by doctors for patients dedicated to fighting for your healthcare freedom and preserving the doctor-patient relationship. Get a pen and paper. Write down www.docsforpatientcarefoundation.org. That's www.docsforpatientcarefoundation.org. Go to our site and please make a generous tax-deductible donation and join the fight today. Thank you. Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information
This
is also
Ron
available
Camacho,
on the
host of
web.
the Business Hour on Fridays from 10 to 11 a.m. Join me as I talk with passionate professionals on a program that profiles the best businesses, business professionals, business practices, and fascinating individuals to get an insider view of how America works. 10 to 11 a.m. on America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, to wrap it up, what was your question?
You know, how do they took the guns?
Okay, in 1899 came this revolution, and the last revolution was in 1903 when the Germans, the English, and the Italians blockade Venezuela.
Yes, and United States came to the rescue.
And United States came.
And we don't speak Germany today, thanks to United States.
United States.
Okay, and then the country got unified, right?
Yes, but got unified under a dictatorship, a long dictatorship that lasts another 35 years with Juan Vicente Gómez.
And then people, like I was telling you, people wanted to move.
And he was picking up the guns from the people in order to impose
the unification.
No, the dictatorship.
The dictatorship.
Okay.
Okay. With the excuse of unification.
No.
Oh.
No, it's a power struggle.
It's a
when
power
you
struggle.
when you take the guns from the people's hands, you imposed a tyranny.
A tyranny.
Okay. So that's to wrap up. Now.
But the question that I asked you was when they used to, let's say, let's go. I gotta go to the capital, and I'm living here in the border with Colombia. How was the way that they used to? Because the country was divided. How do you cross?
It's not only divided. The roads, because after 70 years of war, the roads didn't exist anymore. Just path.
Okay.
So do you know what people does to travel from Mérida, Venezuela to Caracas? Do you know what they do?
I don't know. That's why
they go to the sea, go all the way to Curacao, and then go to La Guaira.
So they didn't travel inside the country.
No.
They went to the sea. Oh, okay.
All
Got
the
it.
way.
Got
okay, and they have to get into the main port that is La Guaira, and have a passport sealed because they're traveling from
so who's the president who start building those roads to connect state by state, cities by cities?
The same dictator, Juan Vicente Gómez. Because he created a unified country that didn't. It's like the reconstruction of the United States after the succession war, that you have all the South destroyed. So you have to rebuild.
And that's what he did.
He did it for 40 years.
Okay, and then, this is the part that I want to get into it. Because David just talked about, this is very scary what's going on in the United States. Because it's like I told you, David, it's like we are living in United States what we already witnessed back home, right? And then we are like the voice in the desert, like the Bible says, voice in the desert, please listen, and it's up to the people if they want to listen or not. But for example, one of the ways that how they are destroying our country, United States, and is the why they call specifically women's, the female movement in the United States, what they call the toxic masculinity.
The feminist movement.
Yeah, the feminist movement. That's one way of destroying a country, because when you destroy the men, the country goes down
The masculinity.
The masculinity, you know. For example, I like men with hair, with crazy hair here, hair everywhere. You know, I like men. I like a man who shows. I like a man who shows masculinity. All right. I don't like men plucking their their eyebrows, shaving, and you know, and trying. I don't want to be hanging out with a woman. I don't know if you guys get the concept, right? But if you call that toxic masculinity, I guess I am toxic. All right. So one of the main thing that destroyed our country was that they destroyed the manhood. They destroyed the manhood, and one way to destroy the manhood is like when they start drinking and getting drunk all the time. They were not responsible at home. Men leave the woman and left with another woman, and they the woman has to be put up like
and destroy the family.
Destroy the family concept, all that. Okay, so we hear Joy Reid. She's a black woman here. She was talking about that we need to finish with the toxic masculinity. And then she was talking about that the minority men who are white, Christians, and rich, they want to impose in United States what they believe. First of all, in my knowledge, the whites in United States are the 70% of the population. So it's a big lie when she say it's a small or a minority group, white men. That's a big lie right there. Because if the population of the United States is 70% white and the rest is black and Hispanic and the rest, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that all the white, what she's implying is that all the white men who are Christian, who are rich, are the one who have to be destroyed because of their masculinity. And what she doesn't understand is when you attack the male in a country, you're destroying the country completely. And the next person to be attacked is going to be the woman. Okay? What I'm saying this is because she was promoting the Nelson Mandela effect in South Africa. You remember what is the Nelson Mandela effect?
The problem is that I don't want to imitate what in South Africa happens, because South Africa used to be one of the most developed countries in the world, and now it's a fourth world country.
Yeah, it's a failed state.
It's a failed state.
Yeah, you know what's going on over there. They are killing the whites. They are persecuting the whites. They're, it's the reverse.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then why I am so concerned about this is because behind all this movement, they are trying to destroy the country like they did to Venezuela. Behind the scene, behind the curtains, you can see behind hiding people who are manipulating all these little groups, so they can be exposed in the front, they can be annihilated. So when everything is in chaos, they come with the solution, right? They create the chaos and they come with the solution. That's exactly what happened in Venezuela. For example, in Venezuela, the political Islamic agenda that was imposed in Venezuela, and today is being proved that they are in control in Venezuela now. The political Islamists in Venezuela are controlling the country now. And that's what I'm seeing here in the United States too. They are claiming that they have the right for the amendment number 1, right? Freedom of religions. But when you analyze Islamic as a religion, okay, shut up. You have to shut up your mouth. But when you start analyzing Islamic as a political way of philosophy, way of living, that's when we have to be careful. Because this political Islamic agenda, what they're doing is they are controlling our minority groups in our country, here in the United States. And the Democrats have been dividing us by group. The black group, the woman group, the Latinos group. What is the other one?
Yeah, but the problem mainly is that they bring this kind of ideas, crazy ideas, into the academia, into the high schools and the universities, and that was a tactic from an Italian communist named Antonio Gramsci.
Wow.
Okay, and this process, I will explain that in our next program.
Uh-huh.
Okay, how they took over the academy,
Mhm.
and how right now you have a lot of communist teachers
Mhm.
in our main universities.
Yeah.
And how
Indoctrinating
indoctrinated
the millennials, those crazy ones who are promoting the annihilation of
Antifas
the
and the-
Antifa. They are promoting the changing the constitution. They are promoting to get rid of the college, electoral college.
Yes.
You know, all what the
free
foundation.
free education in the universities.
You know, free education for all. But we know when you promote free education, like my country, okay, they have, like back home.
There is no free education
There
in the
i-
United States. I pay taxes in my property because I have to pay the education of other people, and,
Yeah.
and my
But
daughters
when-
too. But you know what I mean.
But when they say free education, okay, let's look at Venezuela. They had the free university education. Okay, they don't pay for university over there. But what do they teach in free education, university education? What do they teach? Marxism. Basically. How to squeeze money out of the state.
Solidarity.
Okay? And not only that, do you see any invention, any investigation, any research coming out from free schooling? No.
You know when this started, and when it started to come in here.
Yes, with the Hamburg school, and that happens in the 40s.
1940s.
In the 1940s in United
Well,
States.
Khrushchev in the 60s said that they were not going to take the United States by force.
No.
They were going to take it by inward and by education and by rewriting the textbooks.
And at that time, they already have 20 years in the making.
Yeah, and they were already infiltrating the universities.
Yes.
That's why
with
it's-
their communist.
That's right.
That's why it's so important to not destroy the statues in United States. That why it's not. It's very important to leave it how it is, because that is a reminder of the next generation that we cannot repeat our own history. What happened in Venezuela? They rewrote the history. They rewrote. They took statues that people who really did something.
Christophorus Columbus statue was one of the first statues to be destroyed in Caracas when this Chavez took the power.
Okay, so when I see here in Stone Mountain, Stacey Abrams with her people putting a petition to destroy the Stone Mountain, is she crazy? Is she crazy?
That's a sculpture of the same sculpture that did the presidents in the mountain.
Roswell, no.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. It's the same.
It's the same
sculpture. Yeah.
So they want to destroy an artwork because they don't like what that artwork means. Do you know that?
But the ironic.
That's destroying the First Amendment.
But also the ironic situation is they want to destroy their own history, because by destroying their own history, because you're going back, most of what they want to destroy is democratic. Leaders in the past.
Yes.
They don't want the history expose the rotten and bad
but
actions that they had in the past.
They don't like their history, and they want to rewrite it.
Okay,
and now it's about to finish, isn't it?
No, it's 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay. So
my message to Joy Reid is that by she promoting this destruction of toxic masculinity, she needs to be careful, because when she promotes the destruction of the men,
they want to be like Jenner,
Jenner.
Yeah, they want us to be just like Jenner.
Caitlyn
Jenner.
Be careful with that, because our country depends on our masculine, our men's, and all the men, not only the white, but all the men's in the country. We depend on you guys. So get up and defend our country.
Amen.
So we'll see you all next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, we'll see you in about a minute.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction and medical director of the Atlanta Healing Center. Please join me on Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to AmericasWebRadio.com, the pioneer and leader in chat radio. Thank you for listening.
Buenas tardes.